All right, everybody. Meteorologist Jeremy Kappell with you, joining you on this Friday afternoon. Here we are, August 30th, 2019, and I did want to provide a special update on the tropics. Of course, all eyes on Hurricane Dorian, a very dangerous storm that's now making its way through portions of the western Atlantic. Storm has definitely been picking up an intensity here over the last 48 hours or so since it skirted the island state of Puerto Rico a couple of days ago. Fortunately for them, just a glancing blow, but now the storm beginning to look more and more organized. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time with you here on this Friday talking about the latest of what we are looking at with this, as again a storm that's going to be capable of a lot of really bad things, I think, unfortunately, once we make our way over the next couple of days ahead. Here's a look at the latest on that storm, a little bit of visible satellite imagery. This was taken earlier from GO 16, and you can see as daylight revealed the storm getting better and better organized, as that eye is now clearly evident. That was not the case yesterday. While it's definitely gaining that concentric look that you would expect from a better organized hurricane and tropical system. So this is something that we're going to have to contend with here as we go throughout the next couple of days ahead. Now, give me just a moment as I do help to get the word out through my other social medias that we're going to be on here with this update. Not a long update, but I do want to give you the latest on the stats, the projected track of this dangerous storm. That is Hurricane Dorian, which is already just really beginning to get organized, and in a way that's we don't like to see. But I'm on here live. Let's see how many people we've got on. We've got about 14 people on live. If you don't mind, a quick share of this video as we get started here. You can see that's the Dominican Republic and Haiti, the dual island nation to the south of it. It's approaching the Bahamas. Now, here's a couple models I want to share with you. These are very high resolution tropical forecast models, and the folks at the National Hurricane Center, they pay special attention to these, because oftentimes they will be the ones that get it right, or at least a little more correct than some of the ensembles and the synoptic models that we look at as well. This particular one, this is the HWRF, the WRF model, hurricane model, and you can see it as it basically blasted right through the northern Bahamas here. This is going to be late over the weekend, Sunday particularly. It approaches Florida Monday, and then it takes a beeline maybe out towards like Fort Pierce, if this is correct, and it would be a Category 4 storm. Very, very strong. That would be a bad scenario for the Florida Peninsula if this were to occur. This is the WRF model. Now, I want you to look at another one. This one also makes it a very strong storm. We go from the WRF to the HMON. This is a new hurricane model just developed here over the last couple of years. It takes a further south track, even south of maybe of Miami, very close to Miami. And this is really, it takes the barometric pressure all the way down to around 915 millibars. So that's not just a Category 4. That's a strong 4, if not a 5. Good news, bad news. If it goes south of Miami, that's good, because it's mainly marshlands down there across portions of the Everglades, and that would be not a worst case scenario with this storm. But the fact of the matter is that there is a huge range of possibilities once we go on into the latter half of the weekend and early next week. Guidance is still very, very much spread apart. So I don't want you guys to fixate on any one model run. Any number of things can happen. And I'm going to show you that spaghetti plot coming up here in just a moment. I do want to say hi to my friends. Cheryl Evans, good to see you on here. Susan DeLorme, Emily Ware Pittman, Linda Farabella, Derek Rose on here. Derek, Hopefully you're doing well. And yeah, some pretty scary models coming in today. I've got Jerry Edwards, Vicky on here. Thanks guys for stopping by. All right, so what we're saying to you is that this is potentially going to be a bad hurricane. The real question is where. And I want you to know that there's just so many possibilities of what this storm could do. Now, what we were just looking at is the HMON, and that's this southern track here. This is the spaghetti plot you oftentimes see meteorologists refer to. And the HMON was the one that took it all the way down here to the south of Miami. And again, if it jogs to the north, that could be devastation for Miami. We sure hope not. But most of the models are not that far south. Most of them are considerably further north. So what does that mean? That means Miami very much is in play. Most of the models, I'd say the majority of them, have it coming in north of Fort Lauderdale, say between West Palm Beach and I'd say south of Cape Canaveral. So this is the area of greatest concern, but I don't want to even fixate on that because the storm is expected to slow down as it approaches the Florida Peninsula. And with that slowing motion, it becomes basically, you can kind of think of it like a log adrift. If you've got good upper level winds that can kind of push you and steer you, that log will just go right downstream. Okay, so you can think of it like a swollen creek or a river that's moving fast. You have high confidence, you know exactly where that vessel is going to go. Now, as soon as the upper level winds become very variable with multiple pressure systems, it begins to meander. We think it's going to slow down and it's going to begin to meander. We know it's going to have a westward push as it approaches the Florida Peninsula, but from there we think it's going to begin to drift to the north, which means a number of things are possible. Even some of these models here show it not even reaching the Florida shore, curving before, which could impact portions of the mid-Atlantic. So to say there's a lot of unknowns with this storm, I think would be an understatement, and especially considering with it slowing down, that gives it more time. A couple of days ago, we were thinking of a Sunday night landfall. Now we're thinking Monday night or Tuesday is more likely. So lots of time to watch. You can see those models. Some of them bring it up even into the Carolinas. All right, so this is the spaghetti plot you're looking at. What I want to show you is what the Hurricane Center is thinking. Here is their cone of uncertainty, and it's very large. Look at this. Anywhere in the east, basically anywhere on the east coast of Florida, or now even as far north as Savannah, Georgia, at risk. So basically we're saying that's a huge population. They want everybody down here to pay attention, because what we know is that this storm is capable of becoming very strong. It is forecast by the Hurricane Center to north of West Palm Beach. That's a very populated area, but I wouldn't, again, look at the specifics too much just because there's too many unknowns with this storm and time. So we're going to have to watch it, and we will be watching it here very closely here in the days to come. There's a look at the National Hurricane Center and their forecast map. That's from their website, and you can already see where we've got hurricane watches that have been posted for portions of the Bahamas. Already seeing that tropical storm force wind field expanding. The storm will get larger in time, and as mentioned at the top of the show, we're seeing better and better organization from the storm. A lot of warm waters ahead of it. We're talking about ocean waters between about 84 and 87, even 88 degrees. It is way more warmth than you need to intensify the storm. We think the upper level winds, they remain favorable. So there's really nothing to stop this from becoming a really nasty storm. So what we can hope for is that it does make that right turn sooner than later. Maybe if it can make that right turn before reaching the Florida coastline, that could be a real heaven send. I wouldn't count on that. So if you do have interest down there, I want you guys to keep that in mind. If you get friends and family, I'm sure they're paying attention. Just check on them. Make sure that they're taking the right precautions. This is hurricane force winds probability map here as we go throughout the next 120 hours. So you run this all the way out into the next 5 days ahead, and you can see huge amounts of uncertainty here, but showing that highest probability, making a beeline towards Fort Pierce, also West Palm Beach, and towards that's Lake Okeechobee. That's the large lake in the south part of the state. So if you do have friends, family that are down there, some tips to pass along. At this stage of the game, you don't know if you're just going to ride it out. Maybe you'll miss. Maybe it'll miss you completely. Probably not. You'll probably get a piece of this. Maybe you are going to ride it out. Maybe that's the right move. If that is your plan, you want to start preparing that emergency disaster supply checklist. Do that now. So go down to your stores. I'm sure the shelves are already being emptied in some areas, but you want to have that water on hand, enough food to last 10 days if you can. Non-perishable foods preferred. You got to have that first aid kit, flashlights, batteries. You don't know how long you'll be without power, and just a lot of things to kind of keep in mind. Of course, if you are going to ride it out, may plan on boarding up your home, that sort of thing. You want to keep family documents around, make sure that they're in a safe place, birth certificates, insurance, all that fun stuff. Got a few days to watch this. Cash, by the way, also a very good idea to keep on hand. And of course, the best course of action may be evacuations. No evacuations have been ordered yet, but if the storm turns out to be as bad as we think it is, that certainly will be a possibility. We'll take a couple of moments for some questions or comments. Let's see what we've got. We've got Greg. Is it Lionish on here? Do you see anything with the high breaking down or being not as strong to keep the storm from hitting Florida? We do have that tendency, especially in the GFS models, to keep the ridge strong enough, long enough to push it straight through Florida. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the spaghetti plot with all of the various models, including the Hurricane Center's forecast and cone of uncertainty. What I want to do is remove the official forecast because I don't think it's important. I don't want people to focus on that one area. Now I'm going to take a look at just the GFS ensembles. Most of them blast it through South Central Florida. That's what all these are. I'm going to take off the cone of uncertainty as well. And so what that tells me is that the ridge is going to remain in place on top of it. The system to the north that's going to allow it to go around it, that will push it straight through Florida. So that's if the GFS is correct. But again, that's not the only model that's out there. We've got a lot of those other ensembles and also the hurricane models. I think it may make that turn a little bit sooner. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross our fingers for that. What we do know is that we've got a dangerous storm that is developing. You can see that visible satellite showing that eye developing here this morning just to the north of the island nation of Haiti and the Dominican Republic as it approaches eastern sections of the Bahamas, which already the Bahamas have been placed underneath that hurricane watch. Thank you for the question, and we can talk more about this in future updates. We've got Bobby Brown on here. Thanks for being on here. And that's it, guys. We'll bring this one to a close. Again, just want to kind of give you a quick update. I've got some family in town. I'm going to be hanging out with them here over the next couple of days, but I'll also be watching the storm very closely as we go on into the weekend. I think we'll have a lot more answers here, certainly over the course of the weekend, but it may not be till sometime late over the weekend or even early next week before we really are able to hone in on that exact target area and see exactly how strong this storm will get. Prayers are that it won't get that strong and that it turns away from the U.S., but we have to be prepared for the worst. That's it this time. You guys have a great Friday afternoon. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll have more updates, so stay tuned.